Hello everyone. Today we will be breaking down how feedback design transforms combat from functional to visceral. Here's a question every combat designer should ask. If the mechanics are solid, why does the combat still feel empty? Because mechanical correctness isn't enough. Combat only comes alive when players see, hear, and feel the impact of every strike. Combat feedback is everything that tells the player their action mattered. It's the language that your game uses to communicate impact, timing, and power. It's not just visual, it's a multi-sensory design. That means visual cues, hit sparks, flashes, trails, particle burst, audio feedback, punch threads, metal clashes, parry pings, camera reactions, subtle shakes, zooms, and the time dilation. Sometimes even unhuman responses, flinches, throwbacks, or delayed stumbles. Each of these elements translates input into emotion. Without them, the player presses buttons. With them, the player feels like a weapon. Let's look at a real example here. Here's a raw footage, solid hit detection, clean animation, correct damage logic, but it's lifeless. Now the same scene, feedback layered in, impact sparks tied to hit notifies, camera impulse curves triggered by enemy hit reaction, SFX pitch variation to prevent repetition, enemy reaction montage synced with staggered frames. Notice how the exact same combat feels 10 times more powerful. Not because the mechanics changed, but because the presentation now supports those mechanics. Good combat feedback isn't about realism, it's about perception of force. Humans judge impact through three main signals: timing, contrast, and exaggeration. Timing, instant response equals satisfaction. Contrast, sudden burst of motion against calm. Exaggeration, simply overdoing it, making it read as powerful. That's why even games with cartoony visuals like Hades or Hi-Fi Rush feel incredible. They exaggerate these signals to make every input synced. Let's break down what I call the feedback stack, the layered approach to creating impact. Primary feedback, immediate response, triggered on the exact frame of hit confirmation, like camera shakes, damage number, hit sounds, reinforces like contact. Secondary feedback, short aftermath. Enemy hit reactions, staggers, particle delay, reinforces weight. Final feedback, contextual layer. Slow motion, finisher effects, cinematic pause, reinforces significance. Stacked properly, these create rhythmic clarity, so every action has a beginning, a punch, and a payoff. If the visual sells power, sound sells reality. A punch without low-end frequencies feels weak. A sword clash without mid-range reverb sounds feels like a toy. Sounds layering, combining multiple samples per event, creates texture and variation, making combat feel organic. And then there's the camera motion, your silent amplifier. Even a 1.5 frame shake can sell impact better than a 10 frame animation tweak. It's invisible design, but when done right, the player doesn't notice it, they feel it. But feedback can also break immersion if it's overdone. Too much camera shake, too many effects, and suddenly clarity is gone. Combat feedback should enhance your gameplay, not drown it. The golden rule: the player should feel power, not confusion. Every layer needs purpose, because in professional combat design, clarity is king. Combat feedback is where design meets sensation. It's the invisible art that makes mechanical systems feel alive. As combat designers, our job isn't just to make things work, it's to make them resonate. Because when every swing, sound, and shake connect perfectly, the player doesn't just play your game, they feel it. This was the importance of combat feedback. If you enjoyed this breakdown, check out my other videos on different aspects of combat design. Thank you so much for watching this video.